Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I am going to explain a Chinese action thriller film called Kungfu Girl. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. Shannon is a martial arts student living in Hong Kong. Her father Danny runs a local restaurant during the day and develops games at night. Shannon's mother passed away a few years ago while driving to an airport. Since her father refused to drive her that day, Shannon blames him for her mother's death. The relationship between the father and daughter hasn't been the same ever since. Shannon lives in her school's dorm and hardly ever visits home. She has a rivalry with a guy from her class named Ricardo. He and his group of friends bully her frequently. One day, the bullies are in Shannon's father's restaurant, complaining about the food not being spicy enough. Even after devouring it all, they refuse to pay. Shannon retaliates against them and forces them to pay up. A humiliated Ricardo throws the money to the floor and walks away. Shannon picks it up and hands it to her father, who is in a mascot costume. She also apologizes to him for Ricardo's rudeness. The next day at school, Ricardo takes his revenge by making Shannon's friend's brother trip and drop his food. Shannon's friends ask her to forget it, but she doesn't want to let them off the hook. She sits with the group of bullies confidently and eats from their plates. An intimidated Ricardo leaves her alone and walks away with his friends. Later, Shannon finds out that he destroyed her clothes in the dryer. The group troubles her every day, laughing when she messes up, making her fall several times, and even adding frogs in her lunchbox. A local shop owner hosts fighting machines in front of his house daily. Shannon is informed that Ricardo has defeated everyone he has fought against until now. She takes the opportunity to challenge him in front of everyone. She even goes as far as to bet him to wear a skirt if he loses. Ricardo, in turn, asks her to cut her hair and wear men's clothes if he wins. The fight starts and goes on for quite a while. However, it is evident that Ricardo is way more skilled than Shannon. Suddenly, he catches her off guard and punches her in the stomach. The pain almost causes Shannon to pass out. After the punch, she can hardly get up and is defeated in a single kick. Ricardo laughs at her and hands her a pair of scissors. Accepting her defeat, Shannon cuts her hair. The next day, she goes to school with short hair and is made fun of by everyone. When she enters the class, Ricardo calls her a man, making her angrier than she already is. When he doesn't stop calling her names, she attacks him in the middle of the class. They have to be separated by the teacher before a fight breaks out. Shannon is then taken to the principal's office. He calls Danny to tell him about his daughter's shenanigans. Danny apologizes for the inconvenience, claiming that she is aggressive because he hasn't been a good father to her. He also begs the principal to let her free this time. When Shannon goes to pick up lunch from the cafeteria that day, some girls block her. They have also joined hands with Ricardo to trouble her around the school. Shannon's friend yells at everyone for supporting a bully, but they ignore her. Not wanting to cause a scene, Shannon walks away without her lunch. She reminisces about her mother, who was the reason she took interest in Kung Fu. While most mothers dressed their daughters in princess dresses, Shannon's mother made her train from a very young age. She believed that Kung Fu needed girls like Shannon as much as Shannon needed Kung Fu. That night, Danny calls her and asks her to come home for the weekend, since she hasn't been home in 3 months. Shannon is reluctant, but she agrees to visit him anyway. After the call with his daughter, Danny also calls an investor and asks him to come over to test his new game. He has created a virtual game where one has to fight in reality to win. At night, Shannon goes home and meets her father. Danny tries to indulge her in a conversation, but she is dismissive and rude. When called out for being impolite, she forces a laugh and ignores him. Danny also asks her about her hair, but Shannon dismisses it and doesn't tell him about being bullied. When he brings up the change in her behavior after her mother's death, she blames him for all of it. Hurt by her words, Danny walks away. Moments later, Shannon goes to his home office and snoops around. She notices a strange necklace on the table, but she doesn't think much of it. She also finds a headset on his workstation and decides to wear it. As soon as she puts it on, she enters the virtual world of ancient China. All of a sudden, a group of people attack her, but she defends herself efficiently. She also notices that her hair is back to being long. Then, her eyes land on Ricardo, who is dressed in traditional Chinese clothing and is fighting the opponents. It turns out that the people he is fighting are robbers trying to rob food from a farmer's house. Shannon is surprised that Ricardo is doing a good thing for once. Then, the leader of the group, Norman, comes forward to fight Ricardo. However, he is proven to be weak against Ricardo's expertise and is knocked out within minutes. After the thugs run away, Ricardo gives the farmers the sacks of grain that were taken away from them. Shannon follows him and asks him how he got into the game. She soon finds out that he is part of the game, with a different name and an entirely different personality than Ricardo. He also informs her of the powerful robber brothers, Norman and Tyson. They have gathered and trained an army to rob food and supplies from the poor. Hence, Ricardo is protecting the people of his town with his life. He is sure that since Norman was just defeated, his short-tempered brother Tyson will come to take revenge. Somewhere else, in the robbers' camp, Tyson is furious. He sends some of his people to keep an eye on Ricardo, looking for the best time to strike the village. Then, Shannon is shown around the village and introduced to the martial arts academy. She meets her bully, Daryl, who is one of the good guys in the virtual world. Her school's principal is the martial arts teacher. He assumes that she is with the robbers and makes his pupils surround her. On finding out that she is just an innocent foreigner, he apologizes and sends her to her personal room for her stay in the village. Shannon is also introduced to the leader of the village. Suddenly, Ricardo gets sick and falls unconscious. The group rushes them to the village's medic, Miss Aries. She is trained in martial arts and is a great warrior. Later, when Ricardo gets better, she and Shannon explore the village. They come across an old shed and see a gruesome-looking person meditating. Aries explains that the man is her father, who has been in the shed for a year. It turns out that her father, Bao, used to be a traveler who helped people and caught robbers everywhere he went. However, after Aries' mother's death, he wished to stay isolated from the world and hasn't come out of the shed. Shannon stays in the village for the next few days and learns different martial arts techniques from the village's head. She and Ricardo practice together and learn many things from each other. Soon, the village runs out of food because of the increase in robberies. The head of the village reduces the daily 3 meals a day down to only 2. The workers and the civilians are distressed because soon they might die of starvation. Hence, at night, Shannon, Ricardo, Daryl, and Aries go to the robber's house to steal grains. Daryl uses a tube and darts to knock the guards unconscious. Then, they break into the storage room and get ready to pack everything in. However, the alarm rings, alerting everyone in the house of their arrival. Aries comes in front of the enemies to save the others. The rest of the group has to reluctantly run away without her. The next morning, Shannon asks the village head to save Aries, but he refuses to do so because Aries was caught stealing, which is against their rule. Following that, she goes to ask for help from Aries' father, Bao. She tells him everything about her mother's death and how she blamed her father for it. Shannon says that her father couldn't be nicer to her and admits that she was at fault for blaming him. She is about to lose hope when Bao comes outside of the shed, determined to save his daughter. The group attacks the robbers' base and fights the guards before rescuing Aries. The father and daughter reunite and decide to go on a trip like they used to. Shannon wants them to stay until the robbers are fully gone, but Bao claims he has faith that they can stop the robbers. After Tyson finds out that his troops were attacked, he gets ready to invade the village with his soldiers. Knowing that he is about to do something like that, Shannon, Ricardo, and Daryl brainstorm ideas to stop him. Shannon knows that there must be a way to defeat the enemy, since this is a game after all. Then, she remembers the necklace she saw on her father's table that matched exactly to the necklace that a soldier was wearing. She happily thanks her father for the hint. Hours later, Tyson, along with his soldiers, attacks the village. The village head and his pupils battle them with all their might. Amidst the battle, Shannon notices the necklace and the man wearing it. However, while trying to fight him, she is killed and brought back to reality. Shannon refuses to lose and wears the headset again. It turns out that she has one more life left, which means she can continue the game from where she was earlier. This time, she beats the soldier and manages to get his necklace. On opening the locket, she finds her mother's picture inside. In only a second, all of Tyson's soldiers disappear because Shannon was able to figure out the clue. When only Tyson is left, they overpower him and win the battle. Following that, we see Shannon and Ricardo by the side of the river. She tells him that she misses her father and asks him to send her home. Ricardo promises to always remember her and sends her back to reality. When Shannon is finally back, it has only been a few hours since she started to play. It turns out that Danny and a potential investor had been watching her play all this time. Shannon hugs her father, apologizing for being rude to him. The investor is so impressed with the game that he offers to invest 10 million yuan in it. Next week is a national-level Kungfu competition. Both Shannon and Ricardo have taken part in the competition and have been selected in different divisions. They have to win 4 rounds to reach the finals. On the day of the competition, Shannon looks around and is sad that her father is not present. Still, she does her best and wins easily against the real-life Aries. Similarly, Ricardo wins the next few rounds and reaches the finals. Shannon goes against a guy in the semifinal, and after an intense match, she defeats him. Now, the rivals have to fight each other in the finals. The audience eagerly watches as they get ready to fight. Ricardo strikes the first attack, but Shannon dodges it. Likewise, Ricardo also dodges all of Shannon's attacks. The first round ends without any one of them getting a proper hit. The referee blows the whistle, indicating the end of the round, but Ricardo plays foul and attacks Shannon even after. His score is deducted, but he doesn't back down. In the next round, they seem to match in skills and strength. Suddenly, Shannon kicks Ricardo in the back and makes him fall. An enraged Ricardo breaks the rules again and hits her on the back of the knee. Shannon is in pain, but she still gets up, ready for the next round. This time, he kicks her on the back of her head, breaking yet another rule. Shannon is almost knocked out, but then she sees her father in a crab costume cheering for her from the audience. With renewed motivation, she stands up to fight Ricardo. She remembers the technique she had learned with the virtual Ricardo and uses it on him. It works smoothly, and she knocks him out to win the competition. As the crowd erupts in cheers, she runs to her father and hugs him. In the last scene, she is back in school. She makes amends with Ricardo, who comments that she deserved to win the last match. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.